Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay, we have, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, and you wanted to speak to?
Go ahead, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think my name's already up there.
I'm going to request, I'm not from Bridgeport, but I would like the opportunity to speak if possible. My name is Karen Doyle Lyons, and I am the Registrar of Voters for the City of Norwalk, Connecticut. I serve on ROVAC as the Chairman of the Registrar of Voters Association, Chairman of Fairfield County. We have a number of people here that are here to observe and listen to some of the comments that were made this evening. And I appreciate the fact that you're running the commission and that there has been no prejudgment. And we're not here, as you said, to lay blame on any particular one. There are certain circumstances that develop, and as I said before, sometimes registrars, we do try to conserve your tax dollars. Sometimes that conservation of funds and budgetary constraints given by the cities, and we all feel that. Every registrar in the state feels the constraints. That we try to pinch our pennies, and unfortunately this time it was pinched a little too far. Mr. Caruso said that there is a law that states that there's one ballot for every voter. I'm not aware of such a law. One has been put in the opera, I'm sorry. We take and we look at the amount of voters, and my counterpart, Stuart Wells, has been very good in doing that, where we tracked all day long on election day. A week before election, we sent an email to the Secretary of State stating that we had Plan A, B, and C in proposal. One was that we use our regular ballots. Second, we use any reserved absentee ballots that could no longer be given out. Then we would then transfer to copied ballots. This was approved by the Secretary of State, so we cannot then lay the blame on our registrar of voters, because that, again, was approved. Approved the paper ballots could be used.
Okay.
So in that respect, the registrars...
You're saying the registrar asked for this?
No.
The registrar's group?
No, I did.
So Norwalk asked, and
we got approval, but that was already approved by the Secretary of State's
Plan 3
office.
was to use the paper ballots, and the Secretary of State approved that.
That's correct.
Ask the question, is that standard procedure for every municipality?
That is the standard procedure. Not the absentee ballots, but the paper ballots.
No, the paper ballots.
As far as training, I'm a moderator trainer for the state of Connecticut for Fairfield County. Many of the registrars use Norwalk, but because of budgetary constraints by some of the towns, they were not able to send moderators for their training in August.
You know whether Bridgeport did?
They were not able to. Also, we criticized the registrar of voters because the poll workers were not qualified. And Mr. Caruso, he's still here, he knows that each candidate has an election to give a list of names for poll workers. And Mr. Caruso does submit many names, I believe up to 20–30% of the poll workers that work on election day. I think that if in your proposal the law has to be changed so that poll workers are then hired by the registrar of voters in a timely manner so that training can proceed. Again, in a timely manner.
You're saying move it more than 10 days.
If the candidates are allowed to hire the poll workers,
Oh, I see. So it's 30 days.
I think, pardon?
It's 30 after the statute. I've written that into the statute. It's already 30.
Is that correct, Stuart?
I don't know.
I believe you looked it up this morning.
But in any event, you need time to train them. You have a lot of them.
So this should be looked into, because if you have a continuity of having poll workers year after year after year, then it does build up the educational process.
Do you train in a place where everybody comes to that, or do you go to the...
I've done both. I've done training here in Bridgeport. I've done training in other towns, and also training in Norwalk.
May I ask a
Judy
question?
Boudreau is also here. She's also a moderator trainer for the state of Connecticut.
May I ask a follow-up question to the moderator training? If a municipality does not train anyone for a particular year, what is the recourse of your organization to make sure that that happens, given that it could fall into a fiasco if you don't have trained people?
It's not up to the ROVAC organization to monitor whether there are certified moderators. Certification of moderators is good for 4-year term, but it is a good practice to have a preview or a review of moderators' duties prior to election. The moderators are the chief polling officers at any polling place. No one except electors who are voting at that polling place and election officials are allowed within the 75-foot. Therefore, any attorneys or any candidates are not allowed, and unfortunately, they would have to call either the Registrar of Voters Office or the Secretary of State's office to file any complaint or request any information. That is state statute. My counterpart has developed a DVD. The Secretary of State's office does have a DVD, and Stuart Wells has developed a DVD for training purposes for moderators, and we're in the process of doing that this year, and we've been practicing it. But because of budget constraints, we don't have enough help here in Bridgeport. You know, you don't have enough staff in your office for a city this size, and for you to have one telephone.
How many people do you have in Norwalk?
We have approximately 43,000 voters.
People in the registrar's office.
We have 1 full-time staff, 2 full-time registrars, and we have a number of part-time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. There was one other.
Well, since I spoke, you should have my card as well. I'm the Democrat in Norwalk.
All right, thank you very much.
If you have further questions, we of course will be available.